Sort of tell me when it's 5 minutes. So,
5 minutes?
all right.
You are also my time.
It really is. I was live quite yet, so I'm going to wait a few minutes, maybe for a few people to come on. But I always say that, and then I always start right away, which is what I'm going to do, because I know people can watch this at any time. So I got on Monday morning and said I was going to do videos. Like I was prompted, I believe by God, to do videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. And already today I didn't do a Wednesday morning one, but I've been traveling for work, so I was not able to do it this morning. And my husband's just like, "Oh my gosh, you didn't do your video this morning." So here I am tonight. So anyway, what I want to do is just tell my story. Today I put my journey with fear and torment. You know, last time I put fear, anxiety, and panic attacks. And that's all true. But hi, Lisa. How are you? But today I put torment. And if you've gone through panic and anxiety attacks and or know somebody who has, live with somebody who has, or whatever, it's torment. It's tormenting. You know, the fear and the panic and you know, the way you feel, the things that you're hearing, you know, in your mind, the thoughts that are constantly going through your mind. It's torment. It's tormenting. It's you know, it's like it's pecking at you, you know, all the time. So that's why I put torment. And I also want to, like I kind of clarified the last time, like sometimes we use the verbiage, you know, I'm having a panic attack. Oh my gosh, you know, I did this today or that today and I had a panic attack. And quite honestly, most of the time when we hear that from somebody, it's not a panic attack. You know, panic attacks can be totally debilitating. You know, they were for me, and just leave you drained, leave you wondering, you know, questioning. And, you know, that's kind of where my journey began. You know, like I said last time, I think I don't remember as a child not being fearful about something. I came over here when I was almost 3 years old. I was adopted, and I was just a fearful child. You know, it's a spirit of fear, and I'm going to talk more about that, you know, as we kind of go on. It's what the Bible tells us. That's what God's Word tells us. His Word says we've not been given a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay, but it talks about a spirit of fear. It says it. It gets in there, right? That spirit of fear gets in there. And however mine got in there, it got in there at an early age. And I just really never knew a life growing up of not being fearful about something. Okay. But as it escalated, I was probably about 11 or 12 when I had my first like full-blown panic attack. And that, even though I had led a very fearful childhood, I mean, I was fearful about everything. I was fearful about getting sick. I was fearful to see sick people. I was fearful of people that had casts on, that had broken legs or I was fearful to be home alone. I was fearful when my parents would go away. I was fearful to stay with relatives. I was fearful to go to school. I was fearful to go to Sunday school. Seriously, like, just, you know, it wasn't something that I asked for. It's something that came on me, like I said, at a very young age. But again, when I had my first like kind of full-blown panic attack, I was only 11 or 12. And it really came out of the blue. And it came at a family Christmas party. And I was scared out of my wits. You know, I had no idea what was happening to me. Like, I had no idea what this was. You know, I'm 11, 12 years old. I'm feeling like I got to run out of this place that I'm at. I'm feeling like I'm going to die tonight. I didn't say anything. I'm not sure why. I think what I thought, like if I say something to my parents, like how I was feeling, I was like, I'm going to end up in a hospital tonight. And that scared me, So I quite honestly, I struggled through it. 11, 12 years old, my first panic attack. I struggled and suffered through it all night. I remember just laying there with my hand like on my chest, making sure my heart was beating. I'm not going to make it till morning. I was, if you've had one, if you've ever talked to people who have had one, it's so hard. It's really difficult to explain. Hey Sue, how are you? But it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And it seemingly comes out of the blue, with no warning. Like I said, I had been, fearful for most of my life, but never had I had that. Never had I had that full-blown panic attack. And, okay, so I was 11 or 12. It took me till I was 16 until I told my parents. And for whatever reason, they didn't even ask. And I exhibited clues of it. Believe me, as I got up into like 7th and 8th grade, I missed a lot of school. I was afraid to go to school. I didn't want to go to school. Afraid to start going places. But 4 years it took me to tell my parents, from 12 to 16. Finally, I tried to explain it. So they're like, okay, you need to go have a physical. We need to get you to the doctor and have a physical. Which they did, and which I did. And I remember I had to fill out like sort of a mental assessment, type thing too. It was like big, a lot of pages of stuff. So I had this full physical, right, at 16, 4 years after I had my first panic attack. And they found nothing physically wrong, right? And the doctor, I remember, told my parents, she's a teenager. Teenagers just experience this. When you're feeling panic or whatever, breathe into a paper bag and you'll be better. They didn't prescribe medicine yet. That comes later. But yeah, he didn't. I was 16 years old, having severe panic attacks, and they didn't prescribe medicine. I never thought about that really. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that. However, telling me it was just normal as a teenager, breathe into a paper bag. I think initially I was like relieved that it wasn't something physical, because seriously, I thought, what the heck, maybe I got a brain tumor, who knows, maybe I've got, what could this be, right, that's making me feel like this. But I think initially I was glad that it wasn't, but they didn't stop, even though there wasn't anything physical wrong with me. I began to ask a few of my friends, like, hey, have you ever felt like this? And I'm kind of describing, panic attacks and stuff, and they're going, no. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm a freak, This is back in the day and age, you guys, where I couldn't go on Google and Google my symptoms, or what was wrong. People weren't talking about panic and anxiety attacks and things like that. In fact, they never even said that to me at the doctor. He never even alluded to the fact that that's what it could be, right? So, I can't talk to somebody about it. Truly, I would sit and I would think, I've got to be the only one. Like, I have got to be like the only one who feels like this and who's having this. I would think of the world. Honestly, I would think of the whole world, and I would go, I'm not finding anybody else who feels like that. I don't get it. So I was left with a lot of questions. I was left with a lot more fear. I'll say we weren't like a really like religious family. Went to Lutheran school, went to church, kind of sporadically. But I immediately began to think of God in a way of, like, why is he doing this to me? Why did he bring this to me? Like, what did I do so bad that he wants me to live like this? That was sort of the conclusion that I could make. It's got to be God that's bringing this on me, because I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it's here. But I want it gone, So my journey kind of kept going with no resolution with this. In the back of my mind, I always thought, somehow, some way, someday, I'm going to be through with it. I didn't know how. I didn't know what that looked like. And it began to be a spiral for me, like it is for a lot of people. I never got to the place where I was, where I wouldn't leave my house or anything like that. But as the years went on, I was fearful to do things. I still did them at times, but fearful, because what if? What if? What if it happens there? What if it happens here? You begin to be so fearful of those things, and the thoughts just keep coming. Now you don't sit and have a full-blown panic attack like every day or every week, or you'd be totally exhausted. But there's this daily level of anxiety. They call it generalized. There's daily kind of level that can escalate. Some days it's pretty good, right? So that's what I began to deal with, and again, just the questions, and that's a huge part of what I'm going to continue to talk about, is when you have that first panic attack, when that comes on you, seemingly out of the blue, your response to that is so important. I know that now. I didn't know that then. But your initial response to that first panic attack is so important to whether it's going to continue, whether it's going to escalate, whether you're going to have more attacks, right? Whether, how long they're going to last, what your first response is so important. And I'm gonna continue to go on with that as I do more videos about this. But it's funny, people will say to you, or say, even my dad kind of said, he alluded to the fact, like, gosh, it's all in your head. You've heard that. I mean, with many different things that people go through, like I think it's all in her head, and it was kind of. That's true in essence, not the way he said it, not the way other people say it, like they're alluding to it's all in your head, like you're kind of making it up. Surely it can't be this bad. Surely it can't be, and that's not true. Panic attacks are hell on earth. Anxiety attacks are hell on earth. The torment that they bring into your life is horrible. But does it originate right here? Does your head and your thoughts have a huge, huge part to play in this? Absolutely. Absolutely. And this whole video series that I'm going to do, I don't know how long it's going to be. It's going to be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Right now, I don't know how long it's going to, last for, but it's going to tell my journey, which is 25 years of panic and anxiety attacks. But as I said on my Monday wine, it has a great ending, because there's many things that we believe about it. There's many things that we've been told about it that keep us stuck in it. And I'm here in videos to come to shatter those, to shatter the ceiling on things that you've heard, on things that you've come to believe about it, because all of those things are just going to keep you stuck. And the good news is you don't have to be. So anyways, tonight that's kind of all I'm going to share. I'm going to make them short as I can each night, but each night kind of go through a little more and more, so that you come to see where I was, which was at a really bad place with this. A really, really bad place. It wasn't just a little bit. It wasn't just it was tormenting. It was sometimes run out of the house in such fear and such terror. So I wasn't at a good place, but I am now. So that's what we're going to continue to talk about. And if you guys have any comments to make or anything like that after any of these videos, please do. And please share them. please share them with people that you know are struggling with this, because there's so many people, because now they've got a name for it. Now it's panic attacks. Now it's anxiety attacks. Now now they've got a name for this that they're putting on it, and people talk about it, and people, are medicated and over-medicated and all these things, but there's so many people that need to be free from this. There's so many people that struggle with this. So, that's my goal. That's my mandate, like I said on Monday. Use social media for the good. Use it to reach a lot of people, and take what was so bad for me, and I can flip it around, and I can help other people. So, please share. Please let people know if it's you, if it's somebody you know, somebody that you love that struggles with this. Let them know. And I'm going to stick to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. I apologize for not making this one in the morning, but that's when I'm going to be doing these. And so yeah, but that's it tonight. Thanks for watching, those of you who did, and I'll be back Friday morning to tell more about my journey. Thanks.